What are assets, liabilities, and equity? Now, let me just explain each one of it one by one. So, the first one is assets. Well, assets are those things that you own, first of all, and I'm talking about from your perspective that what are assets for you. So, assets are those things that you own, first of all, that are valuable, and those may produce value in return in future. And value means anything that is valuable, and that may be money or anything, but that doesn't necessarily have to be in money, like gold, property, business, and also money. So all these things are assets. In a nutshell, anything you own and has a value to you is called an asset. Like your TV, refrigerator, laptop, etc. are all assets. Some produce value and some lose value over time. Like television, laptop, these all lose value. But they do have value and they can be sold. The thing to note here is that value doesn't have to be in monetary terms only. Like computers in a company doesn't directly produce cash, but employees work on these computers. They provide value to the company, and work done on these computers may help company generate cash. So value can be anything as long as it is useful to the owner. They are considered nevertheless assets. And these are some of the assets that you are seeing right now. That is buildings, trucks, computers, vans, etc. Some more examples are all these. You can just pause the video and read it. So that was all about assets, and now let me just move on to liabilities. So a liability basically is, as the name suggests, you are liable for something to someone. For example, if you have a student loan, then it's a liability, as you are liable to pay a fixed amount of money to someone, in this case a bank. Loan is the typical example of liability. There are other types of liability, such as buying some product like iPhone on credit. Things you buy on a credit card is also liability. You can also say that anything that you are buying right now and you are not paying for it, but you have to pay for it in the future. So that is typically called a liability. One thing that is kind of similar here to asset is that in asset, the value the asset provides doesn't have to be in money. Similarly, the thing you're liable for doesn't have to be in money. It can be something else. For example, mobile phone companies give warranty on their brand new phones for typically 1 year. Now the company doesn't pay cash, but they are still liable to customers if the phone has some issue. And here they are liable to fix the issue the phone has. So the company doesn't pay cash necessarily, but they are liable for repairing the phone. And these are some examples of liability. So you can just again read it and pause the video. And that was all about liabilities. So now we know what assets are and what are liabilities. So understanding equity won't be such a big deal. So an equity, if simply said, is the difference between assets and liabilities of a company, or assets minus liabilities. For example, a company has $10 million in assets and $5 million in liabilities. Then the company value stands at $5 million. That is $10 million of assets minus the $5 million of liabilities, which equals to $5 million of equity. Now let me just give you one more example so that there remains no doubt. So suppose you bought a house and you bought it at a savings of $50,000 and also took a loan of $50,000. So for a total of $100,000, you bought a house. So now the equity will be assets minus liabilities. That is $100,000 as the house you own minus the liabilities you still gotta pay. So that makes equity of $50,000. And now suppose the market value of the house goes to $200,000 and you have paid half of that loan. So the equity will be again assets minus liabilities, that is $200,000, the market value of the house, now minus the current liability you have to pay, that is $25,000. And that makes me reach to a conclusion of $175,000. And that was all about assets, liabilities and equity. But if you have any doubts, then you can ask me in the discussion forum and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.